Welcome to Matriarch Archetype. I will be your goddess for today because we are talking about Ned Fulmer, who he remains in the news. I don't know why, really. We're going to be talking about the Field app profile that's been outed, leaked by him, potentially. Did the Try Guys know about the affair he had all along? We're going to talk about everything. We're going to get into it. I feel like this whole subject is kind of lighthearted at this point and not really that relevant, and yet he's still such a big deal from the past that it's going to be a big deal. I know it is. So anyway, I'm more covering it out of morbid fascinality. Whoa, what is that? Morbid fascination. Is that the word? I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. So let's get into today's video. Did the Try Guys know all along that Ned Fulmer was in fact a promiscuous boy? Well, I'm going to give my thoughts on this. I've seen the Adam McIntyre coverage, the Do We Know Them podcast. Love the ladies there. They also covered it too. And I have a bit more to say, really, for anyone that isn't quite caught up in the latest Ned Fulmer drama. I think it started at least with a TikToker known as Fisher Mellor or something, odd name, but this kind of unknown TikToker randomly releases this. Let me get comfortable. Let me get comfortable in here. This is tea. It all started when this kind of unknown TikToker, Fisher Mellor or something, released a clip of Ned Fulmer kind of grinding and dancing, body grinding on a random woman that was dated 2 years ago or so. Naturally, as an important person on the scene, or at least he was, and well known for being the wife guy that cheated on his wife, this was understandably put towards evidence of we knew it, maybe he's cheating on someone else, or maybe this was an ongoing thing. And another thing that many people kind of drew from it was the fact that the Try Guys were there at that location. So it brought into question a lot of people asking, okay, so did the Try Guys know that Ned Fulmer was doing all this dirty business behind the scenes? And if so the reason why that's such a big deal is because when it did all come out, Eugene, Keith, the Try Guys, they released these huge statements, and they seemed really sharp in their delivery. They were upset. And if they had known all along, that would put into question the authenticity of that outburst afterwards and the discussion of what happened. So it would have been quite a big deal to know this whole time that the Try Guys were fully aware. However, okay, now this is all alleged in my opinion. Don't come for me, lawyers. This Fisher Mellor, I'm not gonna lie, okay, I can't 100% get on board with the idea that this is genuine. Obviously, the video is genuine. I'm not saying he AI'd it or anything, but you're saying you didn't think of releasing it for 2 years, and I mean, he released an explanation afterwards, which we'll get into later. But basically, he says in that I had it. I was sitting on it for a while, and then it came up as a Snapchat memory.
First off, I want to address, I got a lot of comments saying, why didn't you post this sooner? Why are you just now bringing this up? The only reason I waited to post this video is because honestly, it was a Snapchat memory from 4 years ago. It just popped up on my Snapchat. And I remember recently seeing some articles and some information coming out about that. So I was like, you know what? I forgot this happened. Let's post about this. And it blew up.
I don't have Snapchat, but I remember it from before, and I know what memory functions are on, it happens on other things where it shows you oh, this is from 2 years ago, post it. But even that, if you think about it, what was he tagged in it? Was he there? Why would he have that as a memory? Why would it pop up on his phone as a callback to something that he had before? And if so, you would have to have that in your storage somewhere, in your inbox. And you're telling me that everything happened with Ned Fulmer, and this guy didn't decide to go back then and think, I didn't have that video of him grinding on someone in a club 2 years ago. I don't know. We can't know why he wouldn't have done that. But to me, it's coming across a bit fishy. And I took my investigative journalism a step further by simply checking out his profile. I know. We put in the work here at the Matriarch Time. We put in the work. But I looked at his profile, and I'm not going to lie. Now, this is going to be harsh, and this is coming from me, okay? I've dabbled in clout gobbery clout chasery myself. You have to some extent, put yourself out there in the world to get anywhere. But like looking at his TikToks from before and scrolling up, like I'm seeing a lot of energy and effort to hit the algorithm, to go viral, to be seen, right? And so if this was just like a really like personal TikTok, or someone that was even like small as a creator but in their niche and like just doing their thing, right, then that's one thing. But this account really gave me a sense of like he'll do anything to like hit the algorithm and get famous. Like I don't know, that's just a vibe. I don't know, it's a vibe. Do you pick it up? Do you see what I'm saying? Can you agree? And I don't know this guy, I don't know any of his intentions. I'm not going to assume to have like read through everything, but the views on some of these videos and the likes are so small to some, so like somewhat okay for a channel this size. Like I can see him really trying, basically. So for me, those two things like do not add up. Like I cannot envision he has this clip of Ned Fulmer, he's sitting on it this whole time, and just now he decides to release it, which is like nothing. Like why now, if anything? Of course, like if you're gonna, why now? So for me, this is just an opinion, this is just a hypothesis, but I'm like, I think he just came into it somehow and is using it now. And I don't know how or why. I have no way to prove this. It's just an idea. It's just a theory. I don't really have any stakes in this either. I'm not saying he's falsified anything. I just think, I don't know, it's a weird time. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We are on our road to 10,000 subscribers, which, you know, isn't much for most, but it's a huge deal for me. So if you can add to that, please do. I'm really excited to hit 10K and we'll see what happens from there. With regards to whether the Try Guys knew, and this proves that they knew as well, like I'm not going to lie, if I'm not mistaken, he's not even dancing on the same person. So again, like allegedly his wife is the one filming as well, according to Keith, which we'll see. But like, even if not, right, like if I go to a club with my friends at any age, I'm married or whatever, like there's no way they would have any inkling if I was dancing on someone that I had this long drawn out affair with someone in my company like he did. Would it be a behavior that was questionable? Would they say to me like, girl, you were grinding on that guy, like don't forget you're married, if he was like, my husband was around as well? Like I think it would be like a discussion, yeah, but would it be this conspiracy theory like they knew all along and they lied about everything? Like I feel like people on the internet are making some jumps there. Like does that make sense? Like I feel like I need to get my chalkboard out and get some red like string and make some conclusions before I go to that extent. Like people, I could have just been a night.
So this video was taken in March or April of 2022. We had just actually, after 2 years of pitching and ideating and getting the funds, etc., we were making a TV show. And we wrapped our first episode. We were in Nashville on a weekend. We're like, we gotta go celebrate. We did it. We freaking worked so hard for this. All of us were also friends at this time. This is 6 months before the thing went down that I guess changes how we all might look at a video like that. But this is a video of Ned and our producer Rachel, who's been with us since 2018, dancing as friends, hugging and celebrating and being proud of ourselves for making a TV show. You can see me in the background of that video. Also, just having fun. I'm at a bar, celebrating. A lot of people seem to think that we knew this was happening before it was. We didn't.
He basically squashes the idea that they knew and that things happened. They were partying out and they had no idea about all of everything else. My overall opinion of all of this is that like the internet is full of like heroes and villains. Colleen Ballinger will forever be a villain. Whatever she does, she will be a villain. And of course, some of this is justified in their actions, but we also should live, I believe, in a society where people can change and repent, and like otherwise if there's no possible outcome where people change and they grow and they take accountability and make up for their actions and change as people, then there's no incentive for anyone to ever be a better person than they are. And I don't really want to live in that society where if you're branded a villain, you have no pathway to redemption, and then you're just, why be good then? Like I think that would actually give birth to a society where no one tries and everyone's just garbage the whole time. I mean, this is obviously aside from taking accountability, saying sorry, meaning it, changing genuinely, undoing harm you've done, doing better in the world. Like this all goes without saying. This is a conversation for after that. But like, should we really live in a world where like you are constantly branded as the villain you were decades before? Like I don't think that's indicative of positivity in general. So, and I think the internet has a sense of that too. Like, it's kind of like, he's the cheat guy. There's a video of him dancing on another woman. This must have been involved in it. Everyone around him must have been accomplices. Like, that's a far cry, I think. And so, yeah, I don't know. Completely tear me apart if you disagree in the comments. Like, obviously, like, what he did was terrible, and none of that should improve. I also think his podcast is him grasping at straws for any relevance on the internet, which he doesn't have to do either. Like, there are other ways to make money. There are other things you can do, especially with your expertise and even with your platform. It's not doing that well anyway, so I'm not going to dunk on it. Ned Fulmer also had a bit of a Twitter moment, let's call it, where he addressed the leakage of his field profile.
It was a field or feld? How would you say that?
I
Field,
was just
right?
going to say, what is this app?
I think it's Field, and it's called an open-minded dating app. And the description, because I do feel like it's important to read it, says, Field was made for you to connect with open-minded people looking to explore dating and relationships in a safe and private way. Not so private, I guess. It
has a lot of options for gender identity and sexual identity and stuff, which is fantastic and great to see. And honestly, good to see that there are more inclusive apps out there. Like, I think we all have, as a community, just moved past like Tinder and Grindr. I think there's more room for those things. Even Hinge now has its flaws. Not to sound like a really old person, but back in my day, OkCupid was a thing. Plenty of Fish as well. And then Hinge came and it was kind of new, but like, I don't know. I was talking to my husband about this actually, and we agreed that like, we are so happy to not be dating in this world, in this climate. And like, what was he talking about? My husband was talking about how as a man, when he was dating, it would be like matching with a handful of people, of women, over the course of like months, and how that is hard. And we were talking about how that has bred a kind of incel community where they have a perception of women being spoiled and high value and all that crap, and how we got to there. And I said, like, from my perspective, matching with people was never the issue. Like, I would have, you know, not to brag, but I would have like hundreds of matches, but then the actual genuine connection between people was what was really lacking. And I would date people that say they were single and they actually had, you know, a girlfriend at home or a wife, or down low guys. There's a whole community of it. Like, it's a nightmare. So the need for an app that is a little bit more inclusive to me is definitely there, and it's good to see. And I don't really see why we're like hating on Ned Fulmer for joining said app. And I'm not gonna lie that I love the Do We Know Them girlies. I'm a even through thick and thin, even from their problematic takes sometimes, I'm still with them. But like, they're laughing at the such light spice of Dom leaning switch looking for a brighty sub. That's so weak to me. That's so nothing to me. I don't know if I'm showing my true colors, but like, that's nothing. That's still just a white person cooking. Do you know what I mean? That's just salt and pepper. Like, Dom leaning is, I mean, that's like a little bit of pinning me down, hand on my neck. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. That's not, if it was like hardcore stuff, yeah, okay. It's interesting to have a conversation and maybe a little giggle. People are into some wild stuff. Dom leaning, I mean, what? Like, that's, Hassan Piker is Dom leaning. Like, that's nothing. So allegedly this profile was doxed, and we can't quite work out how. If you know in the comments, like, the moment that this profile of Ned Fulmer's was doxed, please let me know. But even in the Do We Know Them podcast, they couldn't find it. So, but then he addresses this controversy, as it were, by like going through each one of his pictures and rating them, giving them like context, and I don't know. He was always a very cringe character, even in the Try Guys era. We shouldn't expect someone to change. Being cringe is in vogue at the moment, I guess. But oh my God, it is cringe to see him like rate himself. And I don't know if if it's just me, but if you have dated on these apps and in the past decade, like, you could also like so know his type. Like, pull away all of his character and all of the controversy and even his fame and like what he's done. Like, I feel like I've seen a Ned Fulmer on these apps so many times, right? Like, average guy, loves himself way too much. and great, like, have confidence, we all should, but like, okay, dude, you just Ned, like, I don't know. I don't know, like, there's room for everyone. How about that? That's so there's room for everyone, and that's fantastic. And you know, yeah, you shouldn't have ruined things with your wife, in my opinion. But as a married woman, of course, I'm going to say that, aren't I? So anyway, he goes through his profile. It's very cringe, and he rates his own photos.
Nice fit. Mask is fun. Great view. Was a photo shoot with Ariel for our dating profiles at a school fundraiser, but nobody needs to know that.
Then why did
8
you
out
just
of
tell
10.
everyone?
Literally, you fucking, like, he's, oh my God, he drives me insane.
People are calling it a bit of a Twitter crash out. I can understand the verbiage behind that. And that's where we are. So if you think about this in its entirety, it's kind of a nothing burger, but there is enough to like buy into at the same time. Like, all of this together, I think the video of him dancing on someone being released now is just, it's odd to me. I can't shake that. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. And then his like profile at the same time, maybe the timing was, I don't know, something to do with it. Maybe, I mean, hypothetically, we could live in a world, like hypothetically, this is just my opinion, where the TikToker that no one knew about, even at like being nice, saw that Ned Fulmer was in the news again because of his dating profile being leaked and him crashing out about it. I don't know, had the footage or found the footage, or maybe like went out to find the footage, found it and released it at the same time to like continue the hype. I don't know. That's just a hypothesis. It could be the case. I have no, there's just an idea, but I just find the two to be coincidentally both nothing burgers at the same time. 2 nothing burgers a meal does not make, you know? Anyway, interesting. I think it's actually, I do want to say, like, I think it's very sweet how Keith addressed it very nicely, squashed it. Like, that's a very responsible response. There you go. Responsible response to the situation, and it led no room for, like, I don't know, unnecessary drama, which I'm here for in 2026. You know, we have enough to worry about right now. The world is going crazy quickly, so there's just like avoid the shit we don't have to talk about if we can. Thank you so much for everyone that stuck around to the end. If you enjoyed this, please check out some of my other stuff. I literally recently did a wrap-up kind of retrospective about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and my thoughts on that. I covered the recent Shia LaBeouf homophobic comment that was kind of crazy. I watched through that whole interview. Check that out if you'd like. And I'm also releasing this kind of woke is back kind of summary of the previous good things happening in the media, because I know there's so much bad happening at the moment, but I wanted to kind of join back after a bit of a break and like cover all of the good stuff happening. So check that out too. I'm super proud of all of them, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.